Hello everyone. Today I'd like to talk about something that controlled most of my life. And for years I didn't even realize it. It was that little voice inside my head. You probably know the one. The voice that says, "You're going to fail. You're not good enough. Don't even bother trying." For the longest time, I thought that voice was me. I thought it was just common sense. I thought it was protecting me. But looking back now, I realize it wasn't my voice at all. It was the voice of a frightened little boy. A little boy who had been abandoned before he even knew what family was. A little boy who grew up moving through foster homes. A little boy who was bullied at school, punished by teachers, always afraid of doing something wrong. When you grow up like that, you don't just collect memories, you collect beliefs. You begin telling yourself stories. Nobody really wants me. I'd better not make mistakes. I'd better stay quiet. I'd better protect myself. Those stories don't disappear when you become an adult. They simply get older with you. I know they did for me. I remember one of my first jobs after college. I was only a few minutes late. As I rode the elevator upstairs, I had already convinced myself I was going to lose my job. Nothing had even happened yet. When my boss started yelling at me, I exploded. I quit before he had the chance to fire me. Looking back now, I wasn't reacting to my boss. I was reacting to every authority figure who had ever made me feel afraid. The little boy inside me was still trying to survive. And that pattern followed me for years. I'd start projects with excitement, then quit before I crossed the finish line. I talked myself out of opportunities. I'd convince myself they wouldn't work. Not because I wasn't capable, but because that old voice kept telling me I wasn't. For years, I believed it. Then, something changed. As I got older, I started asking myself a different question. What if that voice isn't telling me the truth? That one question changed everything. Instead of arguing with every negative thought, I started observing it. When fear showed up, instead of believing it, I'd simply notice it. I'd say, "There it is again. That's the old story talking." Then I'd remind myself that I wasn't the only person who felt this way. Millions of people carry wounds from childhood. Millions of people struggle with self-doubt. I wasn't broken. I was human. And finally, I'd stop listening to the voice and do one small thing anyway. Just one phone call, one page, one walk, one conversation, one step, because I discovered something important. Confidence doesn't come before action. It comes after it. Over time, that old voice became quieter. Not because it disappeared, but because I stopped believing everything it said. Today, it still shows up once in a while. It still whispers that I'm too old, that I'm not good enough, that nobody wants to hear what I have to say. The difference is, I smile, because now I know who's talking. It's not the man I've become. It's the frightened little boy I used to be. And instead of criticizing him, I thank him. He did his best to protect me. But he doesn't have to run my life anymore. If you've been carrying a voice like that, please remember this. Your past may explain why you think the way you do, but it doesn't have to decide who you become. You can choose a different story. One thought, one decision, one day at a time. Thank you for listening. I truly hope you have an amazing day and an even better future.